Hi, my name is Debra R. Richardson of Debra R. Richardson LLC, and I work with you to help you clean up your vendor data, clean up your vendor processes, and pay the right vendor. Now, this week's Vendor Master File tip of the week is 2 reasons you may need a manual vendor process. Now, I know some of you have vendor self-registration portals, and even those that don't have some type of an automation such as a ticketing system or an automated form to collect your vendor's information and supporting documentation to either add a new vendor or change existing vendor information. But what if those systems could not be used? What is your backup plan? You may need a process where you can accept and process requests via email, or where email is not available, process those requests via hard copy documents. Now, the first reason you may need it is your company is hit by ransomware. Now, we keep hearing about companies hit by ransomware and not having access to their systems. If your company has determined that payments can still be made outside of the accounting system or ERP, and you need to add new or change existing vendor information for those critical vendors, you will need a way to collect their information for a successful payment, including validations to make sure they are a real vendor and to validate the information they send you is valid. So, by the way, make sure your vendor process is included in your company's fraud response plan. And I will include a link to a blog post that I just wrote on that, on recommendations on what to include. Now, the second reason you may need a manual vendor process is your company has determined it needs to abide by privacy acts. So, privacy acts like the General Data Protection Regulation or GDPR, or the California Consumer Privacy Act or CCPA, or the New York Shield Act. Any of those may mean that your company, if you have a vendor self-registration portal, that you have to allow vendor employees to opt out of being in that portal. Now remember, the portal is not the system of record. Your accounting system or ERP is. And so, for example, if you have an employee or a vendor that is an individual, and that individual is the company, is the vendor, they may have the option of not registering in the portal depending on that Privacy Act and where they are located. So you have to have a way to onboard that vendor outside of the portal. So I hope that gave you something to think about, creating as part of a backup plan, including that in your company's fraud response plan. If you want a head start that includes all you need to build that manual process, I will include a link to a toolkit that I have on my site that can help you get started. If you would like more information on how to combat fraud, please go to my website, debrarrichardson.com, for free tools and resources to avoid fraud, regulatory fines, and bad vendor data. So good luck, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified next Tuesday for the next Vendor Master File tip of the week.